How's it going today, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. The Cubs take 2 of 3 from Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh and are on to Milwaukee. The schedule is supposed to quote-unquote get easier, but we all know how division rivals go. We'll talk about the game yesterday, and then we'll preview tonight's matchup in Milwaukee. But before we get into all that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic week. It is Friday. It is almost the weekend, and it's a big series coming up for the Cubs. I want to hear how you guys are going to be watching the games this weekend. Thank you for all the likes. I appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel and the comments down below. My question for you today is, what is more important need for the Cubs? Relief pitching or third baseman? I'm going to start previewing prospective people the Cubs can potentially trade for in the coming months here shortly, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments, so sound off down below. But let's get to yesterday's festivities. The Cubs win 8-3. And it was a very close game in the beginning, I will say that much. The Pirates did jump out to a 2-0 lead, and then an epic fifth inning happened. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But the Cubs get the series win, a good, clean overall victory. Well done. Everybody seemed to be hitting. Dansby Swanson seems to have found his rhythm again, which, again, ladies and gentlemen, I figured he would. He got moved down to 8 in the batting order, and the offense exploded from there on out, right? 9 runs in the first game, 3 in the second, and then 8 yesterday. An absolutely good team victory, no doubt about it. Again, taking 2 of 3 from the teams that you should is very, very important, and the Cubs did just that. Now, let's talk about a couple of the big key moments from yesterday, right? I think a really, really big key moment was our man Colin Ray. He absolutely twirled a gem yesterday. He looked so impressive. And again, when you guys look at the pitching, the projections, right? Not even projections, just like the pitching matchup, and you see Skeens versus Ray, you're like, please, give me Skeens all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Ray was unbelievable. He did give up a home run. He did allow 2 runs. But again, if you're a starting pitcher in the bigs, giving up 2 runs is really, really good. Even Skeens pitched pretty well, I'd say. And then once it got to a game of the bullpens, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the Cubs bullpen might be better in this situation. And they did take care of business on that front. But again, Colin Ray going 4 innings, 4 hits. You know, he spread it out. 2 walks, 2 Ks, etc. Limiting the damage, getting out of jams. Just an unbelievable clutch pitching performance from him, especially when you're going up against arguably the best pitcher in baseball, ladies and gentlemen. That is a very, very, very tough thing to do, and he did it with such ease and grace, and Colin Ray has been nothing but an absolutely fantastic fill-in for Justin Steele, and I hammer this home every day, ladies and gentlemen, but this is what Carter Hawkins was brought in to do. He was brought in to supplement the pitching program here in Chicago, okay? That means from single A on up, we are developing pitchers to go 3, 4, or 5 innings. Not necessarily these either you're a 6-inning guy or a 1-inning specialist, but more of like a blend in between. Again, I think the Cubs have done a fantastic job of growing this pitching staff, developing this pitching staff. And again, they continue to plug and play in the bullpen. Danny Palencia has been brought up, and he looks a lot better and a lot less erratic than before. So, again, kudos to Carter, Jed for the development of this program. Obviously, all the minor league coaches as well, as the Cubs continue to ramp up here into the middle of May and get into the hot stretches of June, July, and August. So, again, Colin Ray had to have been one of the big stars yesterday because of just how well he pitched. I mean, again, when you're going up against Paul Skeens, it can be kind of daunting, right? You're just like, that guy throws 101. I throw 95, which, again, not a big difference, but a big difference. Much more intimidating Paul Skeens. Colin Ray, not so much. But, again, it just seems like whoever the Cubs' 4th or 5th starter is, whoever gets brought in, they seem to do just fine for us. So, again, it will be what it is. Fantastic job, Colin Ray. Now, another key moment in the game yesterday was the 3 home run inning against Skeens in the 5th. It was led off by our main man, Dansby Swanson. He made the lead 2-0. absolutely clutch hit right there. And again, Dansby seems to be figuring it out, ladies and gentlemen. Dansby's average is up to 213. So it comes in ebbs and flows. You can't worry about it. When he's down low, you just got to pick him right back up. And he's starting to figure it out. I told you, Pittsburgh's the get-right team, right? Like, when it's like going home and facing your little brother or little sister in a game of whatever, right? You're just like, I need to get right. I need to get right, get back on the winning track. And the Cubs did just that, and Dansby found his swing again. And he's been absolutely fantastic these past 3 games. He did have his first error yesterday, which was mind-blowing. But over the course of 162, he's going to have that. It's going to happen, so I'm not all too worried about that on that front. Michael Busch had a couple hits. Seiya Suzuki and Kyle Tucker tied the game. Tucker tied the game. Suzuki gave us the lead. And then later on, Seiya Suzuki popped on another 2. And it really, really kind of broke the back of the Pittsburgh Pirates in that one. Because it was only 3-2 until the 7th. And then that 2-run homer did the rest of the trick for the Cubs in that one. So absolutely fantastic victory for the Cubs yesterday against the Paul Skeens, arguably the best pitcher in all of baseball. That's what you like to see, right? Especially after the disappointing loss the day before. You're just like, how did we lose to that guy? You expect to beat that guy, and then you don't expect to beat Paul Skeens. That's baseball, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell. It's the most completely backward sport I've ever watched in my life. So kudos to the Cubs on that one, getting out of there with the series victory, because if they would have lost yesterday, I don't even know what today's episode would have been about. But moving on from Pittsburgh, we are off to Milwaukee tonight. It's actually going to be on Apple TV, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't used your subscription yet, you can get a 7-day free trial, I'm pretty sure. I say take advantage of it if you want to watch the Cubs and the Brewers. But I will say this, tonight is going to be an absolutely, I'm not saying pivotal. I'm not saying it's, do-all, end-all, be-all. But let's just talk about the specifics, right? The Brewers walk in at 16-16. The Cubs are 19-13. If the Cubs take 2 of 3, we'll be 4 games up. If we sweep them, 6 games up. A lot more breathing room already on the table. And again, it can go inverse, right? If the Brewers take 2 of 3, they'll be 2 back. And if they sweep us, they'll be tied. So it could go either way really quick. I don't think the Cubs will lose all 3. But again, Milwaukee is a big thorn in our side on a yearly basis. So the Cubs have Ben Brown going into the game today. He has not been our best pitcher. I will be honest and candid about that. But that doesn't mean the Cubs can't not go and get the victory, right? We're going to be facing Quentin Priester. He was a Pirate last year. He's obviously got over to the Milwaukee program, and they've quote-unquote fixed him. It's crazy how good this team, the Milwaukee Brewers, are at developing players, who come from different situations. It's truly incredible. But hopefully Ben Brown can get right in Milwaukee. Hopefully he comes out and pitches the gem. He's kind of been in every other pitcher. And another thing I've noticed about Ben Brown is he's really good for 4 innings. And then it just kind of seems like the wheels begin to turn and then they fall off. So I'm not sure if Ben Brown is a long-term starter. I do know this, though. If I need a couple good filling innings, he is the guy. No doubt about that. Like, if my starter can only go 3 innings, but I need someone to get us to the 6th, Ben Brown is absolutely fantastic for that role. So, again, you don't want to use that role, but it is a guy that is required in these situations. So, Cubs begin today in Milwaukee. Let's start off with a nice victory here on a Friday, and then let's go for the series win tomorrow or Sunday. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back with another video tomorrow. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Also, just as a heads up, the Brewers are my least favorite team in baseball. So, this weekend is extra special for me. I need them to win the series. Hopefully, we just sweep them and establish our dominance of the NL Central. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.